What is up, guys? Joe from JS Bladecraft. So I'm bringing you another Condor knife, and the first one I brought you was the Black Leaf by Julio Diaz, medium-size knife from Condor, and I absolutely love this thing. There's so much to love about this knife. Still crazy sharp even after testing. Handled everything really well. Love the sheath, the kydex, everything about it. This is a great knife. What I'm basically seeing now with the next knife that I'm showing you with the Moonshiner from Design Front by Joe Flowers is the fact that I think I really like freaking Condor, guys. Condor is a great company. I really like their stuff. They have like a sort of a nice handmade feel to them. They really do. It's just, it looks like none of them are exactly the same. It's just the handle, everything about it just gives me a feeling of like a very handled with care, with pride, with love, in terms of how they made these things, a handmade type of feel. Of course, it's made in El Salvador. It says here on the leather sheath here. This is a high grain leather hand. What is it labeled as? It's a handcrafted welted leather. Really soft to the touch, beautiful stitching, nice pins. I don't know what this is called here, but it's got a nice solid feel to it on the side, holding the knife in place. Nice girth over here. You have the symbol right here on the handle. What I like about this, the belt loop here is the fact that it spins. So if you kind of want to keep this off to the side and you want to kind of unsheath it like down or something like that, you can do that because you are able to kind of spin this around. So you have freedom as far as how you want to take the knife out of it. So that's actually kind of cool. Instead of having it, a fix in one place, they have a little spin hole here. Smell test, guys. I mean, intoxicating leather. I love the smell of good, high grain, good quality, smooth ass leather. This is like soft jacket leather. I mean, it's nice. It's got a nice shimmer or shine to it. I love a good, well-made leather sheath. There's something about it. Just makes the overall value of the knife, the pride in the knife, a lot more. At this point, as I'm speaking, I did cutting with this knife. So you can see basically even the stains on the knife here, as far as the from the wood that I was cutting, the batoning and all that, and I beat the shit out of this thing, as you'll see on the cutting. But I wanted to show you there's no chips or anything like that. Like, I really honestly went in with a magnifying glass and I wasn't able to find any problems with the edge whatsoever, even after doing some cutting. Initially, I just wanted to show you the sharpness level out of the box of this knife. I really honestly only honed it a little bit, but pretty much out of the box, it came to be a pretty nice, sharp, good profile for cutting. Now, what I noticed about this knife is when you look at it, there's no frills on this knife. There's a very plain, simple beauty to this knife. Good wide blade, about 2.47 inch wide blade, a nice spine, 5mm spine with a unsharpened swedge. There's just a simple elegance to it, that it is just made to be a good, hard-working, all-around good knife. I think, honestly, from using this knife, from holding it, from testing it, and testing the edge yet, is absolutely nothing going to happen to the point. The point is so reinforced, you can't expect anything to happen to that point, because it's not a very fine point, it's a reinforced point. And while I'm doing the slicing here, you can see this next segment is just kind of just showing you how well this thing slices. Having a 9-inch blade with a cutting area of about 8.5 inches, it gives you a lot of surface area that you can basically do some nice camping, outdoor cutting type of stuff. Now, it might be a little big for some people, but you know what? It also gives you, what it gives you with that 9-inch blade is the fact that it can have you do a little bit more that resembles a big knife. It gives you an ability to do big knife stuff. Having a little bit of a longer blade, but also still handle the duties and the tasks of the slicing and all that of like a 6-inch, optimal size camping blade. So it gives you the option of doing bigger stuff, but also doing the small stuff really well. You can see basically I'm just lightly, tapping it just to make up a little point there. Maybe if I wanted to make a spike or an arrowhead or something like that. And it does it really well. I mean, the edge really promotes to a really good cutting angle. Having that secondary bevel also makes it very easy to sharpen. But let me give you some quick specs as you see this thing doing its slicing job. So the blade is about 9 inches. It's a 1075 high carbon steel blade. It's a polished finish. It's got an 8.5 cutting surface. The thickness on the spine is 0.2 inches or 5 millimeters. And the width of the blade, which is it's a very impressive 2.7 inches of width on the blade. It's got a lot of meat, a lot of steel on that blade for sure. It's a full flat grind on the edge with a secondary bevel, and it's overall like a 1 pound 2 ounces. There's not a lot of weight on the blade. Overall, it's about 14.8 inches. The walnut handle is beautiful, 5.7 inches from edge to edge. What's more important is also the inner part of the handle is 4.8 inches. Joe Flowers designed this knife to not have nobody will have a problem holding this knife. There's not anybody on the planet that's going to have an issue holding this knife. Anywhere from large hands to 3XL is going to be perfectly fine holding this knife in their hand. And there's so many different grips you can get with it that anybody can hold this knife, get comfortable with it, and do tasks from chopping to slicing to finesse work, and be able to take the proper grip to be able to handle whatever you throw at it. So what I'm saying with this knife, as far as what I can see, is it's a very well-rounded outdoor camping knife. It does a lot of things really well without having one thing excel too much over the other. Just completely well-rounded, good camping knife. Now this next segment here, I'm not going to promote this knife as being a major chopper. It's not a hard hitter. Its purpose is not to be a chopper. What I wanted to do in this segment is a couple of things. First off, I wanted to show you how well-rounded this knife is. I wanted to show you the grips that you can take and the power of the knife and the power of the 1075, being well-tempered, well-heat tempered, and done well, that it can handle some light chopping tasks. Or actually, what I'm doing here is more harder chopping tasks. This is like a 2x4 junk wood from Home Depot I picked up, and it's processed wood. It's it's a hard piece of processed wood from Home Depot, so it's no joke. And I'm kind of really just going to town with it. I'm putting a lot of pressure on the edge. What I also wanted to try and do is, this knife has been around for a while, and a lot of people did some reviews, and I seen a recent review where somebody was kind of just cutting a 2x4, and then they complained, and they didn't show it on camera, that they developed multiple chips on the edge after doing a 2x4. Now my argument was also how they were cutting with it was not good. It wasn't the right way to cut with it. So that's probably promote more stress on the edge than needed to be. As always, I can only speak for the knife in hand, and I really beat the shit out of the edge and put a lot of pressure on it, and the 1075 held up great. So here I'm going back to do some more slicing, simple slicing tasks with the knife after really just pounding on the edge a lot. Now, I love a good fixed blade. Fixed blades for me are just so much fun to play with. I mean, listen, folders are great. Convenience of having a great folder. There's some great folders out there that handle, cutting tasks really well. But fixed blades, in my opinion, are the way knives God intended them to be. Fixed blades are the where it's at. I love fixed blades, and it's when you have a good fixed blade in your hand that's as capable as this moonshiner here, that can handle pretty much anything you throw at it. I love these well-rounded, type of designs, and Joe Flowers really hit it out of the park with this. And you can see after really pounding on the edge, it's still cutting rope and cutting paracord, slicing the water hose and all that. It's still handling a lot of things pretty well. Cut after cut, it doesn't disappoint you. Now this is a 3-ply copper electric cable. And I always like to, use this type of test and use this as a push cut to see if it doesn't damage the edge at all. And, listen, if it's a good, well-tempered blade, there should be no damage to any edge if it's done well. And you can see it went through that with no problem. And I kind of just went in and actually just even chopped it a little bit more to force it more on the edge. I'm just kind of just really testing to see how far I could get away with the edge. And if I can't see any problems with it, and I honestly can say that I didn't see any issues with it. And to be honest with you, I kept on cutting with this thing, and I didn't even see the time go by because it's just so much fun to play with. And that's what I saw, is that it was just a lot of fun to play with this knife because the size of the blade, you're able to do a lot of big things with it and still do the little stuff really well. So it's just, I can't emphasize enough at how well-rounded this type of knife is to do everything you need it to do. You know, I kept on slicing, kept on chopping, and the edge retention really, really does hold up well. And I was very impressed. I was actually pretty damn impressed with the edge retention, how well it held up. And the most important thing, reason why I kept on cutting with this thing and showing it on camera, is to show you that there's no hot spots. I didn't find any hot spots or any discomfort whatsoever in all the different types of grips, from chopping to slicing to finesse work. It just felt great in the hand the whole time. Now, here is that damn firewood I was talking to you about. It's, what does Scab call it? Hard as a brick bat, son? This wood is freaking hard as a brick bat, son. I gotta tell you, it was a hard, just completely dried out, hard-ass piece of firewood, like log, you know, firewood logs. And you can see that this knife is just overmatched. I mean, this is a tremendous log there. It's a little overmatched. It's only about 1 pound and 2 ounces, the knife. It's not a very heavy knife. And but I was determined. I was determined to get through it. I wanted to put as much pressure on the edge as I could, practically, you know, not abusing it, doing things that probably a little over what the knife is supposed to do, but I wanted to show you that it could handle it. I was very confident with this knife in my hand, and after cutting with it for a little while, I said, you know what, this is going to get through this log, and it's going to get through it really well, and I don't think I'm going to see any damage on it. And I'm speeding it up here, not to bore you with it, but yes, a lot of fun kind of getting through this. And finally, boom, I think after this cut here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, here it goes. Yeah, I knew it was actually right at this cut here. It was just going to kind of fall apart right there. Boom. So it took a little work, and it's just hard piece of wood, but it got through it. So what am I saying here? Well-rounded. Can handle the cutting and the chopping. It can handle everything really well. Well done from Joe Flowers in terms of how he designed this to make this a knife pretty much for everybody. And a knife that I think, like I said, can do a little bit of everything outdoors. It is a good, perfect, overall, well-rounded outdoor knife that's solid, handled everything well, solid. It's just a heavy, very well-made type of knife. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed using it. I'm going to be enjoy using it more and more. And it's a great camping option for about $89 right now on Condor's website. It's about $89.83. It's very cheap, and that's a bargain, guys. Condor really does give you a bargain in terms of the pricing of their products. So this knife at under 90 bucks for what you're getting with this steel and the handle and the quality and the sheath, in terms of how good quality the leather of the sheath is, I think it's a great bargain. I mean, I'm not getting to the habit of not recommending anything, but I'm just showing you my findings, and I think it's a great value. As far as for me, as I can see here, it's an extremely great value, very well designed, simple but beautiful, and made with a purpose to work and be well-rounded. I'm really looking forward to getting into more of Joe Flowers' designs, especially his machetes, which he's pretty much well known for, his machetes and his love for machetes. This is no slouch, guys. This is a good knife, and it's a great deal for around 90 bucks from Condor right now on their website. That's it, guys. So Condor Moonshiner, very good knife, handled everything well. Really liking what I'm seeing from Condor so far. So until the next sort of knife review, guys, thanks for sticking around. See you when I see you. Peace out, everybody. Ciao.